Well, good morning everybody, welcome back to Shutters and Speed. You join me today on a sneaky little ride out to Hunstanton. So we're now leaving the old hometown of Downham Market. This is a sort of just a sneaky Sunday morning ride, so let's run them their titles, boy, and we'll have a little chat. Yeah, so you join me as I leave the fair town of Downham Market. I am making my way to Hunstanton along the A10 route this morning, and I thought I would take the opportunity just to do a little update as to what's been happening in the world of Shutters and Speed. So the first thing to mention is you'll probably notice, you eagle-eyed viewers, that the telephone is back in operation and the Ottocast C5 system has been ditched. Now I have to say I've found that to be a little bit disappointing in my tests, so that's why I reverted back to just the phone. But I have made use of a lot of the parts that I bought to mount the C5 adapter, as it were. In as much as I've used a lot of the mounting brackets and also the printed parts plastic mounting bracket to mount the phone where it is now, which is quite nice, I think. I was watching, there's two people I've been watching recently. It's Rob Little, who's been taking a YB100 around the NC500 in Scotland, and Rishi Vida, who's just been to Ireland on a test Suzuki V-Strom. Now why I mention those two is because they both use a mobile phone to get themselves around, and I know that Rishi Vida, he's quite keen on the Kalimoto app, and Rob Little, he used the Waze app. Now bearing in mind, I don't think he had the phone mounted anywhere, but he certainly used the Waze app on his phone to get him around the NC500, and he appeared to do it very reliably. And I thought, well, maybe I've wasted my money in purchasing that Ottocast system. The thing I found with it which was most annoying, is that the thing it would work okay for a while and then it would cut out, and I wasn't very happy with that, and I don't know quite why. I tried various things to try and cure the problem, but it just didn't seem to do it, and I didn't really want anything that is unreliable. So at the moment I'm trying out the phone on its own. I mean, I was a bit concerned about the screen life on the phone, but then I've done a bit of research on that as well, of course, and I found that your screen life has got quite a long life. It's an OLED screen, it's got something like 10 or 15,000 hours of life, and nobody really keeps a phone that long. So I just thought, well, let's try that. Now when I went back to the phone directly, as it were, compared to the Ottocast system, the sound quality picked up. I got nice crispy sound coming through my earplugs, which was great. So all in all, I was a little disappointed, but I have sort of cannibalised the brackets and bits and pieces that I bought to mount the thing, to mount the phone where it is now. So today I'm out giving that a go to see how that works. So I thought I'd use the opportunity to do a little vlog, as it were, where I could have a chat with you about all things Shutters and Speed, and I hope you find that of interest. Yeah, this is a very very bright, cool August morning on a Sunday. Not much traffic about, which is what I prefer. Regular Shutters and Speed viewers will know that I do like to get out early if I can. Had a pretty busy day yesterday at a lovely wedding, doing my job, and sometimes a nice ride out early in the morning sort of clears the cobwebs, as it were. So that's what we're doing today. And also another event of note today, of course. I mean, by the time you've watched this, you'll probably know the result. But it is the day that the England ladies football team take on Spain in the World Cup final. Now, it's always been one of my great ambitions. I was only 4 years old when England won the World Cup in 1966, and I would love to see, and I would love to obviously see an England men's team, you know, repeat that feat. But and I don't mean any disrespect to the ladies when I say that they are sort of carrying the flag at the moment, and hopefully they will go on and win the damn thing today. And I shall be back in time to be perched in front of my television cheering them on, because I really do hope they can do it. So come on, you lionesses. Easy, Tiger. Yeah, getting back to the man on a YB100, the Rob Little UK series of videos I've been watching. Here's a man who's taken, like I said, a Yamaha YB100 two-stroke all the way down from the southwest. I'm not quite sure exactly where, but I think it's sort of in the Bristol area, that sort of thing. And he's taken this thing up to Scotland, round the NC500 and home again. Now, that is some trip. I believe it was something like 2,500 miles. I'll just check that, and I'll get that right and put it in the screen, on the screen for you. But I thought, what a brave thing to do. You know, most of us wouldn't even consider doing a trip like that unless they were on something like, I don't know, you know, maybe a BMW GS 1250 RS or something, or a Honda Goldwing or something of that ilk. But you know, it's that is right at the other end of the scale. And the amazing thing is, he went all the way around and never missed a beat. You know, he was trundling around, you know, struggling along at 30 and 40 miles an hour in some cases, going up those hills. But it was really good and well worth a look. So Rob Little UK is the man, and I would thoroughly recommend you catch up with him. He's really quite interesting, and it's certainly given me the taste for a trip up that way. He was obviously, because he took his time, as it were. I think he was away for something like 2 weeks, and I think he stayed in hotels all the time. So I suppose you could argue that that is quite expensive, but for a trip like that, that is well worth it, I guess. Yeah, so I should imagine, I mean, you're looking at sort of, what, 90, 100 quid a night in most of these places now. So you're looking at about, you know, 2 weeks, you're looking at about £1,400 in hotel bills possibly, and all the other ancillaries. So that's quite expensive. I know some hardcore people like to get it done, you know, much quicker than that. But the great thing about what he did was that he was able to take in the views. You know, he was forced obviously to keep to quite a mediocre speed, and he was able to, you know, like I say, take in the views, stop, have a look at various things along the way. And I think that's a much nicer way of doing it than trying to be sort of all hardcore and do it in a couple of nights. You know, once you're up there, you might as well enjoy it. Obviously the weather has a huge factor in whether you can do that or not, and I think he went in June, which, although people bemoan the fact that we've probably had a poor summer, and I suppose compared to last year it was, but you know, you have to take into account that last year was exceptional. This year I feel there's been a much more British summer, but we've had our spells of good weather. I mean, obviously June was warm, and we're in the middle of a little bit of a heat wave, a bit of a sort of a sunny period now here in August. So that's not been that bad really. You know, we're very quick to moan, I feel sometimes. Yeah, I had a I'm sticking like glue to the speed limits through here. There's a speed camera coming up just up on my left, so I'm obviously being very careful. Last week in my job I was heading up into Lincolnshire along some of my favourite routes. Regular viewers will know that I do like a nice ride around the Lincolnshire Wolds, and I was up in the Horncastle area, and I was coming over Langrick Bridge, if you know that area, and just coming out of the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, I was accelerating up and in my car, and I was thinking, because I was on my way to a wedding, and I was, you know, miles away, it has to be said. I was thinking about what I was going to do that day, you know, picture angles and so forth, and took my mind off the ball regarding speed. And when I suddenly came back to reality, as it were, I just went by one of those horrible speed vans, and a frantic glance down to my speedo told me that I thought I was doing nearer 50 than 40. So I thought to myself, my word, that's another 3 points on the license, which I already have 3, so I didn't really want another 3. So all this week I've been sort of nervously watching the postman to see whether he delivers me one of those, those dreaded speeding notices. But fortunately, so far, one hasn't turned up, and here we are now on the Sunday, so we're over a week later, so it looks as though I might have got away with it. Now the interesting thing is, I looked up online about speed. I mean, I've done this before, but I just done the thing again, and I also tested my speedo with a sat nav in my car, and my speedo is actually reasonably accurate. At 40 miles an hour it's actually doing about 38, so that gives me a bit of leeway. And also I understand that most police forces operate a 10% plus 2 miles an hour limit, as it were. So in theory you can be doing 46 in a 40, that's 10%, 4 plus 2, 6. You could be doing 46 in a 40 and get away with it, and I reckon it was that. I was probably just on the 45, 46 mark, so I just got away with it. That's not something that I would do normally, and I'm sticking rigidly. I've been sort of shook up by that a bit, and I know people like Michael Neves and Motorcycle News, they bang on about speed and how these road testers manage this, because if you can imagine, they're riding thousands and thousands of miles a year, and probably their licenses are as clean as a whistle, so they have to encounter this all the time. And he was just saying that when you're on the road, you must stick to the especially the provincial, the 30s and the 40s, stick to them like glue, because you never know what's around the corner. I mean, I didn't expect, this was fairly early on a Saturday morning, I reckon I went by there about 8:30. And the other thing that I thought might have got me away with it, if I was overcooking the speed a little, was the fact that the van had only just arrived and possibly wasn't set up. Maybe the man was sitting in the van, he just parked up and he was enjoying a cup of coffee before he set up for the day to get started. So he may not have actually recorded me at all. So that was another thing. But it's just you really must, and I've learned from experience, when you go through these 30s and 40s, it doesn't matter what time of day or whenever, just stick to them, and then we'll all keep our licenses intact. Obviously when you get out in the nationals, that's a bit different. You can perhaps enjoy things a little bit, and I do know that some people are a bit fed up with the overzealous sort of speed thing. I know we drove to Cornwall I think it was last year, in my car with my family, and the motorways around the Birmingham area, or the sort of southern Birmingham area, the speed limits there were constantly changing, and they were constantly monitoring you, so you really had to be on your mettle. And that sounds daft, doesn't it? It sounds daft that you should have to think about concentrating on what seems like a simple thing, but as we all know, when we're driving along in our cars and motorcycles, we do drift off, and that there's nothing we can sort of really do about that, I guess. So we're here at the old Hardwick roundabout, the nemesis of West Norfolk, really. Though I know there are some people that go to great lengths to avoid this roundabout, especially during the working day, as it were. But it's all quiet and peaceful at the moment. I think that will gradually build up in business as the morning progresses. I'm in the wrong lane here, so I just need to indicate. Fantastic. Yeah, so give it another probably couple of hours or so, and this roundabout will be absolutely chocker with traffic heading out to the Norfolk coast. So as we approach honey, as we say here in Norfolk, the coastal seaside resort of Hunstanton, I think we'll probably call a halt to proceedings here and now. I hope you've enjoyed this insight into Shutter's life and the vlog style format of this video. If you have, I'd love you to like and subscribe and leave a comment. So without further ado, this is Shutters and Speed signing off for now, and we'll see you in the next video.